No, the best part about this movie has been for me knowing that at an earlier time in my life, I was James McAvoy.
And if I have to grow up into being somebody, how cool is it to grow up to be Sir Patrick Stewart, star of stage and screen? So it's a big kick getting to work with Patrick. I got to be in the same room as Ian and Hugh and Ellen and everybody, and Sean and stuff, but I actually got to act with Patrick. And I've been a fan of his for years, so it was a real kick. But just dramatically, getting to kind of, the whole idea behind First Class, kind of rejigging, rebooting, but also showing who we were when we were younger. I never thought for a second that I'd actually get to work with Patrick, so that was just quite interesting to show the two opposite sides of these people at different times in their lives and their personal adventure.
I'm looking forward one day to being as dashing and successful as Michael Fassbender. But we can't really believe our luck, can we? That we're still allowed out. Also, playing a character over 2, 3, is it 4 films we've been in now? Or is it 4 films I've made with you, Brian? I'm never quite sure, but both, okay. It's fun to go back to the character and realise that he's still lurking inside you. But these stories are so need to be told. That's what I like about the X-Men. These aren't casual movies. These aren't summer vacation movies. They're classics, and to be allowed to be associated with them is a genuine honour, and it doesn't matter how little I have to do in the next one, Brian, I will be ready and waiting.
We all love the films, but what's nice for me is that in the first movie, we all became such good friends, and we really like each other, and we like being around each other, so to have a chance to do the work that we love, but to hang out with the people that we really admire, respect, and like to be around, for me, is the joy of coming back to do these movies. And the beauty is, because we are good friends, we pick up as if we just saw each other yesterday. And I was really happy to see everybody and meet the new cast, but hang out with my old friends that I really love a lot.
This tastes really good. Sorry. God, sorry. It's really the same as what everyone was saying. We became so close on First Class, and after I got the movie, I went and watched all of them, and am a recent but huge fan. And I never thought that I would even be able to meet some of the original cast, so it's really great. I'm sorry, I got so thrown by hitting myself in the face with the microphone that I can't even believe I managed to get an answer out.
It was cool when Nick and Jen walked on because she happened to do a fitting the day we were in the old hall. I built the old hallways from the X-Men 1, 2, and 3. It's the 4th time we built these old blue hallways. They're kind of iconic a little bit in the X-Men films now. So when you guys, it was really fun when they walked on the set because they'd been in an X-Men movie, but not with those hallways or with Hugh as Wolverine.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of familiar stuff.
Yeah, you were standing in the hallway, and we were looking at one of your costumes, and then you were like, "Can I see Cerebro?" I was like, "Sure, I'll show you Cerebro."
That's no euphemism, by the way.
I was just in the 3rd one. I was, 18. It feels like a while ago, and I just done really a movie called Hard Candy, and was on the set and had never been involved with anything of remotely that scale, and just felt so welcomed by such obviously not just an incredibly talented group of people, but just like the loveliest, sweetest people who were so kind. And never did I think I'd be back playing Kitty Pryde again. So I was just so thrilled to be back with everyone and exploring something new and something very different, and just had a great time every day working with everybody.
When we walked into those old corridors, and for the first time they were doing a scene, I looked over during a take and looked over and saw Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I sat there and I panicked, and I was like, freaked out a little bit. Because those were films that I grew up watching. So it was fascinating because the first class film didn't, even though it was an X-Men movie, it didn't feel like the X-Men movies that I knew. So it's very exciting and nice to be back with everyone and to have some new friends.
Whenever you're going back in time, and this is every bit as much a time travel movie as it is an X-Men movie, there is those risks. And yet there are certain, so some of that's going to happen, and yet there are some things that, if you believe in certain physics and multiverses and things like that, and then you also have a respect for the continuity as we have it. And mine is I'm less so entrapped in those previous films. Again, I'm not the audience, I'm just the filmmaker. But I do believe in certain continuity that will maintain, but some things will change. It's the nature of time travel. You go back and mess about, things happen. So that's something that some of those rumors are probably somewhat true. Primarily since Wolverine is the journeyman, his interaction with the younger cast is primary. There is a moment, which you'll see a beat of in this reel I'm going to show, where these two characters come face to face with the younger self, older self. And we try to do it in a unique way. It's been done before, but my first opportunity to make a time travel movie, really wanted to do my very best to create a set of rules, respect them, and stay within the continuity of those rules. But there's a bit of interaction with that.
But Hugh, besides Wolverine, who is your favorite character on X-Men? Besides yours.
Don't be afraid, no pressure. There's no pressure here.
Listen, it's a very difficult thing to storm. It's a very, very difficult thing to say who is my favorite. But it's also a hard storm to kind of separate an actor from a hard storm. So my general rule is do as many storm movies with Halle Berry as possible. We're both married, and it's listen, going back to the first question, I know that was a facetious question, I presume, but going back to the very first question, I'm in a perhaps unique position on this panel because the very first film I did in America was given to me by this man, and the film was X-Men 1. That was 14 years ago, pretty much got cast. It's almost impossible to believe. Like, I think everyone on this side of Brian feels how incredibly unique, rare, lucky, and blessed we are to be able to, 14 years later, come back together. I mean, we all knew each other. You guys knew me before I had kids. My son was born just as we were making first one. I mean, so much has changed. We've gone through together. And if you were lucky enough in your life to be in a film with just these actors, you would count yourself about as lucky as could be as an actor. If you look to the right of Brian, you see an unbelievable... Yeah.
It's all that.
I was like, what's he going to say?
And you realise this is what you get paid for, to work with them. No. In honest truth, this movie is two great movies in one. I can't believe the embarrassment of riches that I have, that I get to work with all of them here. And so the truth of the matter is, you will never get me to say who my favourite is. Storm.
It's also nice, just things like when we started, even though they're both theater icons, Patrick and Ian, they didn't really know each other much, and bringing them together on this science fiction comic book movie, now they work together in the theater. They've done incredible shows together. They're doing Waiting for Godot and No Man's Land soon, which is going to be amazing on Broadway, and together. And that theater moment is a function of this comic book film, and that's kind of cool in a theater-loving way, which is, is one of the many effects.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. So Michael and James, what about working together in the theatre?
Yeah. You want to do a play?
What about playing our matinees for us?
You want to do playing stuff?
Yeah, we'll do the matinee. That's perfect.
Can you talk a little bit more about the first reaction you had when you even heard of this project? Did you think this is insane? Did you think this is impossible? Did you think this is about time this happens? Because this is not your regular sequel. This is more than just one sequel.
It's an in-between quote. It really is. An in-betweequel.
But it's in the spirit of the comics, isn't it? I mean, the comics go forward and back. They change the history, and you're not quite sure where you are. They change the look of the characters, and the movies are in that the mayhem of the X-Men world. But running through it all, of course, is this very important story, very important message. It's about our lives, however fantastic the characters are.
I heard about this movie and I was immediately filled with such sadness because most of you probably won't recall, but at the end of 3 I was vaporized by and that really hurt, by the way. I hope it never has to happen to any of you. And so my assumption was, well, it's going to be Ian and Hallie and you and everybody back, but it won't be me. But something happened, which I'm not allowed to talk about. Am I? Oh, you can if you want to.
No, we just, characters come back to life in comic. I just have to, whenever I do something, I can't just do it flippantly. I have to at least believe I have to believe in the idea, the conceit. So in my own mind, I understand how Xavier is alive from X-Men 3. There's a beat at the end of X-Men 3 after the credits when his consciousness is sort of inside of this woman in a hospital. And then you take that, you mix it with some powerful mutants. I mean, mutants can do a lot of cool stuff, so you can imagine anything's possible.
So does that mean that Xavier is back? Right.
For the moment.
That should be the tagline for the film, X-Men. Xavier is back.
For the moment.
Face like a machine gun.
Catch it.
But this is science fiction, and a moment can be anything you want it to be.
Yeah,
We're digging a deep hole.
Another thing about this movie that's different from the previous X-Men films is there's a science fiction aspect to it as well. There's technologies, there's the Sentinel program, which is something that's going to be part of the picture. So you've got the time travel and the science fiction elements are things that haven't been as explored in X-Men films in the past. So that also made it a challenge and fun and unique.
You're back in your Storm outfit while pregnant.
You're
basically naked this whole time. After wearing the costume in the last one, now you're full blue.
She's pregnant, I'm naked.
Sounds like
Come see the movie. We all really love, I can't speak for everybody, but I personally love the 70s. The moments that I do get to wear the 70s clothes, I really enjoy them because I like that time and I like wearing clothes when I can. And then the mystique stuff, some of the look is a little bit different, but we're still using the same paint. There are so many times where I wish I could just walk away.
Yeah, Jan wanted to make sure that this Mystique was a less innocent, evolved, getting closer to where Mystique was in X-Men 2.
But she's also more comfortable. I mean, she, when we left the movie, she was mutant and proud. In the first, she was kind of struggling with that problem that a lot of normal human people struggle with being insecure about how they look. So she was very covered up in the first movie, but this time she is mutant and proud.
There's some very cool, again, just hit me if I'm saying anything I shouldn't, but in the future, the X-Men suits are really, I'm just pausing in case I'm going too far, are unbelievable. First of all, hell of a lot more comfortable to wear than X-Men 1 and 2, but they look really amazing. And people in the future wear suits who've never worn suits before, that's all I can say.
Yeah, Louise is pretty amazing, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's
and
it's a very collaborative thing. That's the one thing that I've sort of found on the project as a whole, not just sort of, through sort of, the clothes that we wear, the sort of Magneto sort of outfit, being on set.
Do you get to wear the helmet?
Oh, yes.
Because the best thing about playing the older Magneto at this time, no helmet.
You don't like the helmet?
When you have a face like that, who needs a
We'll talk about helmets later.